And I'm Metwally.
From the One Time Podcast.
Well, I hope you love listening to what we've been working on. We're absolutely loving doing it.
And as our guests get bigger and bigger and our conversations get better and better, all we ask from you is one thing.
Subscribe. That's it. Everything improves with that one little button. So please help us out. If you love the content, give us a subscribe. Welcome to another episode of That One Time Podcast, where we interview interesting people doing cool things in the world of health, wealth and wisdom. Today, Mon is away, so I've taken the reins solo and have interviewed Thatcher Schultz, a New York local from Maine who in the last 10 years has gone from 0 to 14 hospitality venues, slowly developing a hospitality and property empire. The conversation talks about living in New York City, intentionality, creating new spaces and all those things in between. Hope you enjoy. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and give the podcast a follow. It really helps. Thatcher, how are you?
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
How's the evening so far? I've kept you a little bit waiting in the wings.
No, not at all. We're early stages of Fashion Week here in New York. So there's definitely like a nice energy in the streets. Definitely feels like more like, I don't know, the city just feels more alive than a normal February week. So it's nice.
I mean, New York's pretty wild, right? Where are you flying to?
I'm off to Scottsdale to scope a hotel deal and Super Bowl and Waste Management, which is like a fun golf tournament that I may or may not go to.
Waste management. I thought you were going into a different business for a second then.
Yeah, so Scottsdale is known for the Waste Management, which is a big golf tournament, PGA tournament, and funny enough, it like aligned with the Super Bowl in Scottsdale. So that's arguably the biggest weekend in Scottsdale history, probably. I don't know. It's my first time going. I've never been, but we're also doing a hotel deal there, so I have 3 reasons to be there, hence why I'm flying out tomorrow and missing Fashion Week. But I've been to plenty of Fashion Weeks. It's not a big deal. So
it's all about the grind, though. You know, expanding the Thatcher empire. That's a good start. So let's so just give us, just for the guests, for everyone listening, what do you do at the moment? Like, what's your kind of like day-to-day life look like?
Yeah, good question. I really enjoy the deal flow aspect of being a hospitality developer. So I get a lot of deal flow at this point in my career, meaning a lot of inbound leads on, bars, restaurants, whatever, cafes, condos, anything. And I enjoy that. So I kind of welcome it in my life. And I think that's why it comes to me. I like it. That's a big part of what I do, is just kind of managing that inbound deal flow and processing it and figuring out what's a waste of time and what makes sense to pursue. And then focusing on the newest venue, which is currently Bohemia and Virgo. Bohemia is a new hotel, restaurant, lounge in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, at the Coda Hotel. It's below Creatures of All Kind, where you have DJ'd with Teeny Jaguar.
It went viral.
Yeah. So yeah, Bohemia Brooklyn's the newest one. So I'm like focused on that and making sure our staff is on it and, everything's efficient, just creating more efficiencies. And then Virgo's our newest, nightclub, if you will, in the Lower East Side. We opened in September. It's great. Yeah. You're a partner in it. You haven't been there yet, but when you're back. So that's kind of my life right now, is deal flow and managing what's new and kind of making the most out of what's new and making sure that it kind of hits, that they're, effective and relevant. And then, 6 months a year, I kind of refocus my energy towards what we're opening next or what we have just opened, right? Because on average, I open a new property about once a year, every 6 months to 18 months. Our next 2 properties are I guess Scottsdale and Williamsburg, at the William Vale Hotel, like a block away from Creatures and Bohemia.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. Well, we can come back to that in some more detail, but you live quite an interesting and like exciting life for normal people in the world, like me. When I came to New York and spent some time with you, I couldn't believe how fun and enjoyable and also like effective your life was. So it's a testament to what you're doing. So good stuff, and keep crushing it. It's really cool.
Thank you.
So I want to go back a fair bit. So I'd love to hear, get an understanding of kind of the context of the early years of you that allow us to understand you as a person.
Sure. That's a good question. So I grew up in a way that most people would never guess. A small island in Maine, in Mid-Coast Maine, which is like the northeast part of the United States, the little tip of the U.S. It's an island the size of Manhattan, but like 420 people. So very rural and, secluded, and hardworking parents that were both creative. And my mom was a photographer. My dad was a builder, a contractor. Both kind of dabbled in real estate, which I'm so thankful for because it taught me a lot. And I had a pretty chill, quiet childhood. I spent a lot of time in nature and with my yellow lab and my 2 neighbor friends, collecting crickets and going sledding in the winter and playing sports in the summer. And I had an awesome childhood. I'm very lucky to have that much nature in my life. But I was a quiet kid. I wasn't exposed to much on that island. And I went to middle school and high school in a town like an hour away, where my mom lived. And again, a very small school, small kind of ecosystem there. I graduated with 26 other kids, and I think most of them are probably still in Maine or maybe Boston. But I went to Seattle. I moved to Seattle after college and pursued the automotive path, automotive e-commerce. I started a distribution business called independentwheel.com. Did pretty well with that in my early 20s, which really allowed me to pursue whatever path I wanted without having to worry about, a job. So I decided to move to New York and pursue hospitality as a career, a potential career. I didn't know, if that was even possible, but my goal with moving to New York 11 years ago was just to open a bar, alone or with a couple partners, who knows. So
that was always the goal before you even left.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I've always been intentional, right? Even at a young age. So I lucked out. A year in, I met I met a friend named Kyle O'Brien who kind of helped guide me into a West Village bar deal. We bought a sports bar with a couple other guys, Gavin and Adam, and turned that into a fun little hidden cocktail lounge called the Garret, where it's still there. It's still super relevant and fun. It's a West Village staple. It's a hidden bar above a Five Guys. So we did well with that, and that really made me realize how much I loved the industry, and that made me really focus on hospitality as a career. So we went on to open 2 other Garret bars and a 4th called Bandits, which opened a year and a half ago. It's doing very well in the West Village. So as a group, we have a nice, we have four venues. And then I then went off on my own and opened a couple other concepts with other people. Her name was Carmen in Soho. Kind Regards with my Aussie partner Mikey. Make Believe with Jack, and the 60 Hotel. What else we got? Ding-a-ling in the East Village with Mikey. Virgo is the newest. Creatures of All Kind, Bohemia. What am I missing? Froth. Again, our stupid little cafe.
It's the best, though. I love that place so much.
Yeah, you love Froth.
That's where we met.
We have good coffee. What else, what am I forgetting? I think that's all of them. So, 12 total, and we're about to open 13, 14. And I love what I do. I feel so grateful that I'm doing something that I'm passionate about. It doesn't feel like work. I I get to combine different, skill. It combines the real estate side of it, the deal side, the creative. I'm obsessed with design. Whether it's my apartment or a bar, a cafe, like that's what I live for. That's what wakes me up in the morning, is like kind of playing with the design elements of any space, And when I was a kid, I was getting that with, focusing that energy towards cars. I was obsessed with building and designing different European cars, Volkswagens, BMWs, Porsches. And I still have that in my life. I have a collection of, vintage BMW M cars and Porsches and Land Rover Defenders and so on. So really, I think the focal point of my life is design and bringing people together and using my sense of design to create spaces where people I care about or people I don't know can come together and have fun and leave feeling great about their experience and meet other like-minded people. Yeah, so that's where we're at. I'm 11 years into New York, and I'm proud of what I've built. I want to do more. Yeah.
Brilliant. I mean, you made a couple of key points there. You spoke about intentionality and focus.
Yeah.
And hearing the projects that you're working on, there's a lot going on. How do you kind of maintain the focus as you're growing and things are spreading? Because it seems like your energy, when you put your energy into something, it does well, but sometimes I've noticed when you pull that energy back and focus on something else, it drops. Whatever you were initially focusing on loses the spark that it may have initially had. So how have you kept that going and growing?
Yeah, sometimes that happens. Let's use Make Believe, for example. I mean, we're 5 years in. It's been an incredibly successful property in the Lower East Side. It's our hotel rooftop. And yeah, we're 5 years in, and the space, it's taken a beating. It's had thousands and thousands, I don't know how many, 100,000 people in its doors over 5 years. I mean, it's crazy. So we're at the point where we need to renovate the space and revamp the energy, the brand. We're shutting it down in a few weeks, and we're totally renovating the space. It's going to look like a brand new space, Make Believe 2.0, if you will. New aesthetic, new energy, new upholstery, a lot of custom millwork and soundproofing. And so it's going to look, feel, sound better, which is important. I mean, a lot of people just let their venues just kind of get beat up and these spaces just kind of fade into the night. But you got to stay on it. You got to maintain it just like a car, or your body. You have to maintain it and keep it fresh, keep it happy, so that it stays relevant. And if you don't do that, not good. So yeah, any space that we own, we like to maintain it and make sure that it stays as relevant as it can, which is so important. And you're right. Listen, I can't be at every venue all the time, right? So I just float around, and I try to be as efficient with my hours as I can, wherever I'm working from, and keep our staff focused. We have amazing staff, and we're growing. I mean, my newest hospitality group, Full Life Hospitality, we are definitely growing quickly. We're hiring, and we have some really great members on board. I mean, this kid Andy, he's a friend of mine for years. He had zero experience in hospitality, and he's like, "Hey Thatcher, I want to work for you. I want to get involved. I love hospitality. I don't know what I want to do, but I know I want to work with you." So we hired him with zero experience as a floor manager at Creatures of All Kind when we opened this past summer, and he just grew and learned a ton. He's a smart guy, and now he's the GM. Yeah, now he's the GM of Virgo, right? And he's just flourishing. So we have a lot of great people working for us, and we couldn't do it without them. So
yeah, well, that's the key.
It's so important,
key, right?
Especially in this industry. It's so important. I mean, even everyone from bussers to waitresses to GMs, everybody has to buy in and love what they do, love the venues, and they have to like us, right? So otherwise it just wouldn't work. So thankfully we have great people. We have great hotel partners with Coda and with 60 LES, 60 hotels. It's all about putting good energy out there and, saying yes to things and traveling and getting inspired. I mean, I feel like in this industry, you have to travel in order to stay inspired and see what other cities and other countries are doing in the industry, in the entertainment industry, so that you can stay on top, you know? And also, I mean, you got to go, even in New York, here in New York, you got to go to other venues. Like, you can't just be a bar owner who just sits in his own bar and, you know, that's boring. Like, I love going to other places. I'm super friendly with other, you know, the other guys and women in this industry. So, you know, and you gotta just love the industry as a whole. Otherwise, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? You know, go work for someone.
That's a big question. Yeah, people a lot of times don't know why they're doing it. And why are you doing it?
Well, I touched on that earlier. I mean, because I like to create spaces that bring people together, that make people happy. I mean, I'm making a difference in a lot of people's lives, or nights at least. And that brings me joy, you know?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like my car collection. I mean, knowing, like, you know, I don't get to drive many of my cars every day, but knowing that they're there, that I've found them, they're just, you know, I've collected them. They're special cars. You know, that brings me a lot of joy. Knowing that I have these venues that are unique and interesting and that people appreciate. You know, I'm not there a lot, right? I can't, but knowing that they're there and that other people enjoying them and that they're being used and appreciated, like that makes me super happy.
Yeah, so. I love it. Well, you touched on the relevancy piece in New York, and it seems New York, from my experience, is a very high energy, wild place, and it seems like a very tough place to stay relevant. And, you know, it seems like in 10, 11 years you've been there, you've done much more than just stay relevant. You've grown and grown and grown. So how have you stayed relevant? I mean, touched on it a little bit, but it'd be good to dig into that a little bit more, because I'm sure people really struggle.
Yeah, I think, I think you got to, as we open spaces, like, they have to be unique. They can't be this, you know, we can't just create carbon copies of what we've already had success in. You have to keep taking chances with our concepts. You know, so, like, although Creatures of All Kind is a hotel rooftop, much like Make Believe is, it is super different. I mean, aesthetically, floor plan, you know, location, you know, it's in Brooklyn. It's super different, you know? I mean, the only thing it shares is that it's an interesting name, and they're both interesting names, and they're both hotel rooftops. Virgo is, you know, like nothing else I've ever opened. And I didn't think I would ever open anything like that. I never thought I would open a true nightclub. The intention was to open a super tasteful nightclub where, you know, I would want to go, my friends want to go. You know, we're not club guys. We don't love going to the clubs, but, you know, in our old age, but yeah, I mean, everyone loves Virgo, you know, it really transports people into, like, Jesus, like, am I in Berlin? Like, where am I? You know, it's a very tasteful, unique place with an insane lighting setup by James Fouts, an insane sound system from Void that we imported from England. You know, and our design team, mostly consisting of myself, Angus McIntosh at Yaka Studios, and James, our contractor partner. You know, we were really meticulous, and, you know, we didn't skimp on anything. I mean, you gotta, like, just the finishes in Virgo are crazy. The materials, I mean, the bar is like a custom built purple concrete bar, polished concrete floors, with like a interesting acid stain. You know, the carpet room, which is called the boiler room, you know, no one's seen anything like it. And the lighting throughout the whole venue is just crazy. DJs love playing there. Like, they are banging down our door trying to play there, which, you know, most places it's the opposite, right? So, look, it all comes down to creating a unique product that people want, and be intentional, and you know, just seeing the whole process through, taking your time, and not cutting corners. So yeah, I feel like every venue is really different from the others, and that's served us well.
Amazing. So creative ideas that have come from travel and different experiences and being open to trying new things with a good team.
Yeah, taking risks. Yeah, and you know, I will say I did get a lot of inspiration with Virgo. A lot of inspiration from a venue that was open 10 years, or, you know, when I first moved here, it had just opened and it was the best venue in New York. And I always said, like, okay, someday I'm going to open something that is similar to this. And yeah, that venue was called Provocateur in the meatpacking district. It closed pre-COVID. I'd say like 2018 it closed. And as soon as it closed, I was like, I'm going to open something that really like pays homage to Provocateur and that kind of brings it back in spirit. Provocateur had incredible lighting, incredible sound, strict door, great crowd, great people, great DJs, tasteful. So yeah, I feel like Virgo really, really does, pay homage to Provocateur, and, people walk into Virgo and they're like, oh my God, like this kind of takes me back,
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. You mentioned that you want to have good people, and I think that's one of the most important things, and you want them to be inspired and motivated to work in a project, in the businesses that you're a part of. Like, how have you gone about getting people and keeping people aligned and motivated? Is there something that a way you approach dealing with the other people in your team?
Yeah, I think they're inspired by the fact that we are creating unique spaces. They want to be a part of it, and they like us. They like working together. We treat them well. We respect them. We like them. We treat them like friends. And they want to grow. They want to be a part of a team that's really making a difference and putting out a unique product. So,
yeah. Love it. And any advice for people who are trying to move to a big city like New York City with nothing and trying to make something?
Yeah, sure. The best thing about New York is you can just pursue so many different passions, and you can kind of get your feet wet with many different things, There's opportunity everywhere. It's just about how many hours a day you want to be awake and pursue these.
Oh God.
So yeah, I feel like in New York you can literally pursue anything. It's unlimited, any big city, but especially New York. And you got to taste that when you were here. That's why you stayed so as long as you did. And
want to move, trying to move.
Yeah. So it's all about the connections you make, who you meet, and how you kind of curate how you kind of develop those relationships, those connections, and how you can process the workings of New York, if you will.
So, most people would think of an idea like that and think, no way, that's the scariest thing ever. Would you say that there would be like a basic framework that someone could use to get started, like probably save 10 grand and then just make the move without a plan, or have a job ready? Like, what do you think?
Either. I was lucky enough to have my e-commerce business, right, as a backing, right? So I was just dealing with that and like an hour a day processing orders, and then going out and exploring opportunities and making connections and being social and learning about the hospitality industry, because I really didn't have any experience. So I think, it helps to have a little cushion, right? And to have some means of income, which I had, luckily. But, you can, people think, oh, New York is so expensive. I can't do it. But, hey, you can get scrappy. You can find a cheap room to sublet in someone's apartment, and, kind of like what you did when you were here, you just got to get scrappy and do it and make it happen. If you want to move anywhere, you just do it. It's always a risk. It's never a sure thing. But that's what life's about. You got to push yourself and
not cry.
Yeah. If you want to evolve as a person and grow, you got to take some chances. So.
Yeah, I love it. What advice would you give yourself from 10 years ago, starting again?
I don't know. I feel like things worked out 10 years ago. I truly did believe that that this was the right place for me. After 4 years in Seattle, I felt like moving back to the East Coast made sense. Closer to my family and to a bigger city. After Seattle, New York felt manageable. Before Seattle, I could have never moved here. It just would have been too overwhelming coming from Maine. So I don't know. I would just say, hey, do it. Go this direction.
That sounds like you're pretty.
But, I'd say, look, I lucked out of the few elements. I lucked out meeting my friend Kyle, who, we opened the Garret together with Adam and Gavin. I lucked out meeting him, and we lucked out getting that off-market deal, buying that sports bar. Definitely had some luck, but good luck comes from good intentions and putting out good energy and being positive. And that's that's what we do, right?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I mean, well, if you look at my time in New York, I also got very lucky with the people that I was around.
Sure.
And who knows where all this is going to lead in the next, 10 years. But I agree with you. I mean, I think there was 10 years before that of effort and energy and working on yourself and becoming the person you needed to become to then, roll into a place like New York City and things to just click. So, yeah, I think just keep working on yourself and give it a red hot crack and just go for it because we've got one life, right? We don't really know
exactly
when it's going to end.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you blink and you're 40. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm almost 40. I'm getting there.
Thankfully, we're not there yet.
Yeah, and we look like babies at this point. It's great. Yeah, I love it. So what's been like the craziest moment in your career so far, do you think? Is there one thing that stands out that's like, holy shit?
I mean, I think opening that first bar with the guys was just surreal when we opened the Garrett. I mean, that was unbelievable. That felt great. We learned a ton. When we first opened Kind Regards, there was a lot of inter-partner drama. It was originally 3 of us. And, I was super patient, took a step back, and just had faith that it would work out, trusted that it would be fine. And sure enough, it did. We bought out the third partner, and things have been great ever since. I'd say the craziest thing, especially in recent years, has been before we opened Virgo, it was a little bit of a gnarly deal where the previous tenant was kicked out of the space after spending a few $100,000 starting to build it out. So they weren't happy, and they threatened my life. They were really upset. Yeah. Because we were the ones who signed a new lease there and got our own liquor license there. But I don't blame them. They're upset. They lost their space. So that was a little interesting. That was scary. I mean, for a minute, I kind of reconsidered moving forward. When when someone threatens your life, it's a little scary. But yeah, it worked out. At the end of it, they pretty much kind of admitted defeat. It was like, hey, you know what? Good job, you won. And in a way, I feel bad for them, but they lost the space. They kind of neglected their relationship with the landlord, and that happens, right? You got to stay on it. It can be a very tricky industry, and commercial leases can be tricky. Yeah, I'd say another highlight was just opening our first hotel rooftop. I mean, Make Believe, when we opened 4.5 years ago, it was unbelievable having a space like that in the Lower East Side that looked that beautiful with that type of sound and that crowd. It was just so well received. That was definitely a highlight. That was so enjoyable, especially, being a rooftop.
Yeah, no, I love it. Well, it is a very competitive industry, and it can be challenging. You said that story before about Virgo, and how have you found navigating such a competitive industry with high integrity? Because sometimes it can be at odds with one another.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've always just had good intentions. I've always treated people like, it sounds cheesy, but you treat people no matter who it is, how you want to be treated. At the same time, like standing up for other people, standing up for myself, the city. I mean, I all the time I see people throwing trash on the street, and I will literally pick it up and I'll throw it back at them, throw it back in their car. I've done it. One time it happened within 10 minutes. It happened twice in Soho. 2 people within 10 minutes threw trash out of their car. I couldn't believe it. And so both times I literally picked it up, threw it back in their car, said, what are you doing? Like, are you serious? Like, and I think the message was heard loud and clear, and hopefully they won't do it again. So I think just always, just trying to do the right thing and being intentional and standing up for myself and others, whether it's standing up for the planet or myself or, anyone, friends, staff.
Yeah. So you won't get a perfect, but good intentions.
Yeah. And just I'm just being passionate, right? Living with passion, really, really like getting the most out of every day, every hour, every minute, it's important.
Yeah.
I look at my parents, and they're old, right? They're getting up there, and I think that I think they're proud of what I'm doing. I don't think they fully understand what I'm doing, but they're proud of me, and it just, but when you see your parents and they're old, it makes you realize like, hey, we are all subject to aging, and we're going to get up there, and we're going to get old, and we're going to die. So let's do whatever we can and make the most of every day.
Yeah, I love it. And, well, leading into my next question, that works well. What are you most excited about in life at the moment? You seem like you're at the top of the game right now.
I think traveling more. I feel like I've just been working really hard for the last 10 years, especially the last couple of years. Coming out of COVID, we signed a few leases, 4 leases during COVID, and so all of those properties have opened in the last year and a half, right? So it's a lot. It's been a lot. I haven't been able to leave New York much. I haven't been able to travel as much as I wanted to. I've just been working and making sure everything's, aligned and efficient. And it's been a grind. But hopefully, it pays off. My goal has just been to get this done, work hard, and then I'll be able to travel more. I mean, this summer I'm going to be gone. I'm in Europe all of July, half of August, Maine, half of August. I'm leaving tomorrow for Scottsdale, Utah, Montana for some skiing, and then I just think I want to take some time off this summer and really enjoy it. Hopefully come out and see you, go to Australia, Bali, late this spring, in Tel Aviv.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's really the plan.
Nice. So just living your life and enjoying the fruits of the time that you've put in over the last 10 years. Yeah, great.
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of getting to the point where I can take more trips, take more vacations, and try to turn work off and enjoy my success, right? Rather than just work. Our family crest on my mother's side is to live is to work in Latin, which couldn't be more true for me. I mean, I do love working, but that's kind of like all I do. I mean, sure, I go to the gym most days and I kind of, tune off and I travel here and there, but I am pretty much always working. So I'm trying to create, trying to get a little bit better balance so that I can travel more and turn work off more.
But it seems like you love what you do. So
right, I do. So
it doesn't feel like work as much.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. So I really have nothing to complain about. But I think travel is so important, for mental health and also to stay creative.
Yeah, well, the things that I've learned and taken from the time that I've traveled, the 4 months I was in Mexico and New York, I'm just beginning to apply it to a lot of pieces to my life now. So I fully agree. There's you talked about efficiency in the businesses quite a bit. What kind of processes do you usually go through to work through developing efficiencies and systems?
This mostly comes from an ops perspective. We've got a great head of ops named Adam, and one of my partners is pretty ops focused. I try to kind of stay in my lane of sales, marketing, creative, right, deal flow, and I would go insane if I got involved in more operations. So I think early on when the business is new, I kind of am as involved as I can with operations, but I try to let that go and kind of I delegate that to my partners who are more ops focused and our director of ops. And, it's all about, early on setting the tone, inspiring people to work hard and efficient with their time and then just kind of, keeping your eye on it. And, we've gotten pretty good at just having a system in place. And our newest hospitality group, Full Life, we've got 3 venues now, well 4 if you count Froth, and so we have a good system. We have great staff, great managers.
Yeah, brilliant. So on all of these notes, what do you think the best piece of advice has been that you've been given?
I don't know. Nothing comes to mind.
No?
Best piece of advice? No, I'm happy to give advice, but I can't think of any advice that I've been given that's stuck to me. Yeah.
So you've pioneered maybe you have. You're the trendsetter on a lot of this stuff, and sometimes it's a bit murky, and there's not really.
Why don't you ask me to give advice?
Yeah. Okay. Well, what piece of advice would you give? what would be the best piece of advice you would give somebody trying to grow in hospitality in New York City now?
Sure. For any industry in any city, I would just say, just go with go with what feels right, and don't make any decisions based on salary or finances, right? Just pursue what will make you happy and what will make a difference in the people around you. Because, if you can create an efficiency and make a difference in the world or with the people around you in any economy, then you're going to do well, right? I mean, no matter what it is, right? So I think just having that intention of solving a problem that exists or making a difference will lead you down the right path. Rather than taking some job that you don't actually want, but you just want the salary, it just, it's not going to end well.
No, it's not. You just end up miserable. The challenge I see, and I go through this wave of time, like in times, is trying to balance the understanding the finances of a project and then not letting it affect the long-term vision. Like
Sure.
it's a very tough, line to toe. So how have you kind of managed? I mean, I guess you've set yourself up well initially with the online business that then allowed you to have the space to focus on what you really wanted to. But if someone didn't have that, for example, and they were starting from nothing, what would you do?
Yeah, but I mean, everyone starts from somewhere, right? I mean, I started from nothing too at some point. You just got to commit to something. Whose line is that, right? Is that Nike or commit to something?
Just do it.
Equinox? I don't know.
Nike, commit to something.
I think that's actually, it's Equinox. It's commit to something. That they had that marketing campaign like a year or two ago, commit to something. I don't know if it still exists, but it's actually a really good one. I love it. I mean, commit to something. Like, you don't have to choose a path for the rest of your life, right? You don't have to sign some contract. Just commit to something, commit to a certain intention, a certain path, and see it through,
For sure. I mean, New York's a pretty crazy place energetically. Like, there's a lot going on there. You're meeting a lot of people. It's like the epicenter of the world. How do you go about keeping your head straight and like maintaining and finding peace? Because it can be tough.
Yeah, I'd say, you went to the gym a lot with me, right? And we did a bunch of yoga classes and I'd say for me, it's, fitness, health, cooking, and travel, and visiting family. It's nice. As I've gotten older, it's become really important to go to Maine, check in with my family, spend some time with them, be in nature, be in Maine. It's the complete opposite of New York, but that's what I need sometimes, right? And, traveling Central South America, Europe, that makes me really happy. And Miami's great. Just maintaining that balance in my life. It's just, that keeps me sane and happy.
Yeah. Okay. So just doing the basic things, like those simple things, looking after your body, kind of getting out of your head by like cooking and just getting out. And also pushing myself to stay social. I mean, sure, there are days when I'm just like, I don't want to talk to anyone. I just want to be alone, or I just want to go to Maine and just do nothing. But I think just pushing yourself to be social, pushing yourself to go out and to play to some event or something, do something that you wouldn't normally do or haven't done, or not necessarily in your comfort zone. Just random events, random things, new people, new friendships. Coming to Australia.
I feel like I've done well just cultivating brand new friendships, of all ages, right? So, I mean, my best friend is a nerdy girl who works at Google. She's a quantum, machine learning Google person. She's you wouldn't expect that to be my best friend, but it is. And we have a Bengal cat together. And so I think just developing new friendships and keeping in touch with good people in your life, I think that, allows me to stay kind of balanced and humble and centered. So,
well, I mean, from my experience of engaging with you, you kind of are so kind and have so much open arms for so many people that come into your life. So I think you're definitely managing to maintain that level of, peace and equanimity, which is amazing, because I felt myself kind of going through these waves when I was out. This place is intense. So you manage to keep a pretty level head, and you just kind of cruise along, and you don't drink, which is something that I haven't had a drink in like 3 months now.
Nice.
We spoke about this. So why don't you drink? I'd love to talk about that a bit more.
I'm really into health and wellness, and I don't like being hungover, and it just doesn't make me feel good. I don't feel the need to drink alcohol. Luckily I'm not subject to like the social pressure or anxiety of needing a drink. Right. And I've just always kind of been by nature been like a contrarian, right? Like if drinking's cool, like I don't really want to do it. I'd rather not drink alcohol, which is kind of ironic because most of my venues involve selling alcohol to people in order for them to stay profitable. So it is a little funny. But I'm not like totally straight edge. Like, I'll have like a Mezcal Rocks once a week, or I'll have a beer, I'll have a shot of tequila if it's my friend's birthday. I'm not totally anti-drinking. I just choose not to drink very much at all.
Yeah. Be intentional.
Pardon?
You'll be intentional.
Right.
With the times that you do
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the common theme that I'm hearing here, which is good. So, what would the perfect day look like for you then?
I'd say, I wake up without an alarm clock, which is pretty much every morning at 8 a.m. I'll make breakfast. I love making breakfast. And then, just knock out emails, couple meetings, phone calls. I usually work from home for the first couple hours, and then I'll go to the gym or go to meetings. And then most afternoons I have, 3 to 6 meetings, some online, some in person. I'll work from Google in Soho. I work from the Google office once or twice a week just to mix it up. I'll work from Froth, our coffee shop, once a week or twice a week. You got to keep things fresh. I can't do the same thing every day at all. So, and I can't drive the same car every day. You gotta keep things different, interesting and different.
Mm-hmm. So you just work, and then what? So you
and then I'll go to dinner with a friend, or go on a date, or go to a birthday dinner, right? Like I'd say, work hard out during the day, and then just go out and go to dinner and enjoy other people's company at night.
Yeah, I love it. And then you're in bed by 10, 11?
I'd say 11 or 12 weekdays, and 2, 3 a.m. weekends. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. No, it's a solid, simple, just the nice staples. So, what do you want from the next 10 years from here? So if you look back in 10 years from now and you're like, cool, I've crushed this.
Yeah.
What have you done?
Look, I'm definitely happy with what I've built here and the venues that we have. I think I want to kind of upgrade the existing properties, and I'd like to do 1 or 2 more hotel venues, we're currently working on a hotel deal in Scottsdale, not just a venue, but an actual hotel deal. So that's in the works. That'll be fun and exciting. I want to create kind of a home in a secondary market like Scottsdale or Miami. I've got a concept in the works with my architect designer friend, John Brevard. The concept's called Alpha, which is essentially like hotel nightlife of the future, with a health and wellness component. And I'm really excited about Alpha as a concept. I want to find a home for that, whether it's Miami or New York,
Australia,
or anywhere. I don't know. But it's a great concept, and I have to see it through. We have to open that. And I want to travel more, like I touched on, and keep having a positive impact on New York and hopefully other cities and other people.
Yeah, brilliant. Cool. All right, 2 more questions and I'll let you get to your event. You got time? Is that okay? Or
yeah, 2 more.
2 more? Okay. This one's going to be a bit left of field. If you could get an AI chip in your brain and be able to do and learn anything and everything, so you could learn a language in a second, you could download, whatever, but you die in 10 years, or you would live normally to 100, which one would you pick?
Oh, totally live normally to 100. I don't need, happy with the way things are. I'm, happy and healthy. And, yeah, look, I don't, I know a little Spanish, but
no habla español.
That's the beauty of life is not knowing everything and not being absolutely perfect, but, just being happy and intentional and doing the best you can.
I love that. That's a really nice answer. So, and then what is the why of all this? What's the meaning of life?
I mean, I think that what I wish everybody would do is, improve everyone else, or, improve their surroundings, improve their environment, improve the planet. I mean, it stresses me out every day thinking about, overpopulation, overconsumption, fast fashion, fast furniture. Like, it's just people just consume and without giving anything back. It's really sad. So, I don't know. I wish our planet were in a better state than it is. I try not to get stressed out about it, but all I can do is do the best I can and kind of influence others to do their part, whether it's, not consuming something that they don't necessarily need and or just, I don't know, just
being intentional.
Yeah. For themselves, for other people, for the planet.
Yeah. So you'd say the meaning of life would just be maintaining intentionality and lifting other people up around you.
Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully leaving the world a better place, which, it's true.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Awesome, man. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast, Thatcher. I appreciate your time, and yeah, it was really good to chat. Yeah,
likewise. Thanks for having me. I can't wait to see you.
It's not Hopefully long now.
I'll be out there before you come here. We'll see.
Yeah, amazing. All right, my man.